Hello and welcome to the PPW podcast, bringing you news, views, and interviews from the real estate marketplace and prop tech industry. You can find us on YouTube, on iTunes, on Amazon, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. If you do, we'd love you to rate us or follow us, or even just send us an email letting us know what you think of the show. I'm joined today by Online Marketplaces Chairman Simon Baker. Hello, Simon.
How are you?
And by Mark Lightfoot, who is, I think I'm right in saying, co-founder and director of SnowOnly. Is that right, Mark?
Founder, but I
Founder,
mean,
okay.
it's many titles. I'm not too sure what they all mean. We do a bit of everything.
Okay. And the reason we got you on, Mark, is because we're going to be talking about niche real estate portals. It's a topic that came up in our first episode. I think Simon mentioned that if he were to start a real estate portal now, he would try and find a nice profitable niche. You run SnowOnly. SnowOnly operates in what I would call a pretty succinct niche. Why don't you give everybody a quick lowdown on what SnowOnly is and what it does?
Yeah. First of all, thanks for the invite onto the podcast or podcast, video tube, whatever you want to call it. I listened to the first episode, and what Simon said at the end was great to hear. It's a good little soundbite to take out of it.
That's what we like sound bites. Always like a sound bite.
Yeah. SnowOnly is basically a property portal specific to the ski industry. We only sell ski properties, so we kind of try and position ourselves in that market. A lot of high-end property. We're in, I think, 15 countries at the moment. We've got about 7,500 ski properties in about 250 resorts. That's essentially what we are. We're a property portal for the ski industry.
Okay. Simon, where do you want to start with this? I've got an awful lot of questions on my document here, but I imagine you'd want to start with like what brought Mark into this, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think like all these things in life, there must be a reason. Why SnowOnly? Why focus on that segment of the market? Is it a passion for chalets or what? Yeah, it was interesting. I don't think many people know this. I've been a real estate agent for 20 years. So I was a real estate agent in Asia, specifically in Phuket to start with. And while you're driving around with these very high-end buyers, there was always a conversation, just general conversations, but generally around property and lifestyles and stuff. And the majority of people that I shared the car with were all talking about their ski property. It's something they wanted to talk about. You know, I have a ski property in Japan or whatever it is like that. But the common factor that always came through was that they couldn't sell it. They were like, oh, I've given it to an agent, but they don't really do anything with it. And I was like, well, just go and stick it on a portal, because I was obviously familiar with Rightmove or something like that. And then I kept on getting messages back going, there is no portal. Like, can you introduce one? And I was thinking, that's so strange, like something for the ski industry. And I've been skiing since a very young age, so I've managed to ski all over Europe. I love ski chalets. Anyway, so I was going through this process, done probably 6 months of research, going, you know, where's the market? How big's the market? And then I just thought, I'm doing this myself. So I started, and yeah, that was it, really. Our first inquiry that we had, I was thinking about this earlier, was a guy in America, and he inquired after a property for $25 million. And I thought, this is going to be so easy. It's not. But that was the first ever inquiry. Yeah.
It's interesting, right? So when people think of starting a property marketplace, they're usually locked by geography. I'm going to do it in a country or a city or a region. You've taken a totally different perspective, which is I'm going to do it based on wherever there's snow. We're going to.
Yeah, it's interesting, that one, Simon, because I think in the beginning, so when I was kind of discussing this with people, they were like, just stick to France, or just stick to Austria, or do France and then expand into Europe. And I just thought, what's the point? Like, everyone does that. Everyone has those kind of, there's loads of agents in France, but the idea being positioned in Asia was that we had access, I guess, just geographically. It felt like we had access to
Thailand, Japan, Singapore, Hong Kong, and then it was easy to go to Europe. And I was thinking, no way, I'm just opening this up to the world. I'm just going to see what agents are out there and kind of open this up to the world.
Okay, so
how do you then?
You started this. You're a real estate agent by background. How did you what was step one? I imagine step one is find someone to build this for me, right?
Do you know? This is probably going a bit of a segue. I love this part of I love the beginning of all of this. I love the kind of like getting in and typing in what domains you're going to use and the ideas and all this kind of stuff. But my experience is not building websites by any stretch of the imagination. You know, my experience is real estate, understanding people, understanding real estate agents, understanding skiing. And I went through a few kind of little channels to try and find. And then I was speaking to my mate in a bar and basically just said, this is what I'm doing. He goes, well, I do this. So we just kind of went down that road a little bit and said, let's just start it. We got introduced to a few people along the way, but some people came, some people left, but we kind of always had a path. And yeah, and then we kind of built the website. We built the website in Bangkok, actually. I remember going up for a lot of meetings up there, and the website today is so different from when it was in the beginning. Like, it's so different. But you've got to start somewhere, and then you just introduce to the market and kind of see what happens. Yeah.
Yeah, evolve over time. The secret to success of all these marketplaces is sort of A, content, and B, building an audience. How do you think about those two big challenges, especially when you're not exactly in the coldest places in the world when you talk about Phuket and Bangkok, right?
Yeah, so that was kind of a funny one.
Even your content is not even local.
That was kind of a bit of a groundbreaker for a lot of people, because there was a two-way to that. People were like, oh my God, that's amazing that you can build something when you're sitting on the beach. And then the other people would basically say, shouldn't you be in a ski resort? I'm like, yes, but no, kind of thing. It's funny, in the beginning, when we first, so obviously to start any portal, you want to kind of speak to the agents and get a certain amount of properties online to be able to launch. At the beginning, it was something like 500 or 1,000 properties to be able to launch. And then we kind of started and we launched it. And just to go back, at that time, we had a transaction model. Sorry, we had a subscription model. So we kind of started, did some marketing, and then this is like such a big mistake. It was just like, then everyone obviously demanded all these leads. And we're like, but we've only launched a week ago. How are we supposed to, like, we're not established. How are we going to generate these leads? This is impossible. And then slowly but surely, we kind of did a little bit of marketing. I'm sure you're going to ask a bit of question about an investor. We started to put some money, but it always just came back to us that was, you're not producing as much as Rightmove. And I'm like, Rightmove have got a net income of like 172 million a year. I've launched a week ago. Like, you've got to have some level of expectations. But to be fair, they don't give you time. They don't give you time to have expectations. They're not going to say, we'll give you a year and let's see what you can do, but we're still willing to pay this kind of money. There's no time. You just kind of have. And then there was, we attended your property portal watch in Bangkok, and that kind of was a bit of an eye-opener for us. And then very quickly, along with COVID, we kind of changed into something else. Yeah.
Okay.
And what was that something else? What changed? What did you hear that changed everything?
Well, there was all the talk about being part of the transaction, essentially. And the feedback that we were getting along this road was, Simon kind of alluded to it in the last podcast, that you keep on having to churn people all the time. New agents, they get unhappy. You have to then and then you kind of think, oh, there's going to be a huge telephone team of just ringing up people all the time going, we need you to sign up, and sorry, this didn't work, and like this kind of thing. And the fact that we were compared to Rightmove all the time. And I just thought, we have to give this away for free. The only way that we can do it is by giving it away for free. Get people onto the website for free. And then as a business, how do we make money? Well, I'm sure you're going to talk about it again. There's high commissions. We can just take a little bit of the commission. And I don't think people are grumble, because if we can offer some quality, being a niche product rather than quantity, as in Rightmove, then maybe out of those quality leads, we can get some their high-end purchases, high-end commission. We take a little bit out. Yeah, that's kind of how it worked.
Okay. So what is the model now that you make money from?
So we have a general model, but it works in a few different forms internally. So we generate a lead. The leads are easier to get now. We generate lead. We send it over to the agent or developer. If that unique lead is accepted by them, and then they sell a property to them, then based on the commission that they receive, we will take a percentage of that commission. Yeah.
And how difficult is it to make sure they're, being honest about that?
I don't think, to be fair, I mean, again, I'm sure we'll talk about it later. I don't think it's particularly difficult. We have some very, very good relationships with some very established agents and developers, and we speak to them all the time. It's not, I think there's probably, within our website, let's say there's, I don't know, let's just take 100 agents. I think there's probably 30% that really, really perform, and 70% that don't really, and they don't get as many leads because they're in slightly different locations. That's quite easy to kind of control that side. The ones that we send a lot of leads to, we have really good relationships with. So it's not so difficult. And also, we get a lot of feedback from the buyers. Yeah, all the time. Yeah. They're always interested to come back to us because it's true. There's a thought process that we're neutral and an agent is an agent and they're trying to sell them something. So they come back and say, "What do you think of this?" And you go, "Oh, okay. So you're talking to that person. No worries." Yeah.
So what I'm curious about is the following, and I'm just looking at the website at the moment you've got just under 8,000 properties, 260 odd resorts, 16 countries. So you're spread wide.
Yeah.
How do you manage the supply side, all the agents and that you deal with in each of those markets? There must be language issues, there must be cultural issues, time zone differences, and so on. And then the second part of the question is, how do you get to your audience? How do you build the brand amongst those who are looking to buy in those markets? So let's start with the first question. How do you manage these agents across these 16 countries and 260 odd resorts?
Yeah, it's really not that difficult, to be fair. The Japanese ones, we have good relationships with. I'll speak to. There's probably about 6 or 7 in Niseko in Japan. We speak to them pretty regularly. Whether it's just on WhatsApp, it's all about relationships. Like, I can just send a voicemail, they send a voicemail back. It's pretty easy in that regard. There's actually a lot of French agents that are based in the UK, so they're kind of they're dealing with the French agents abroad. There's a lot of English agents that are dealing with Italian properties. Europe's super easy to get to. The challenge, if I'm not going to say it's all easy, I'd say the most challenging one and the one that we've probably put least effort into is America. Yeah. Okay. I know you kind of alluded to it in the last one. Their system is really good, but it's harder for us to kind of get in there because it's so good. Yeah.
And then how do you create a brand amongst your audience? How do you find visitors to come to the site?
Yeah, so initially we got an investor, and the investor gave us some money to spend on marketing and stuff. This is what I said I kind of wanted to do, and we did that. We worked with some companies to kind of get some SEO out there, and it was kind of a bit of a more of a shotgun approach. It was kind of learn as you go a little bit, going, what kind of works, what kind of doesn't work. And then I remember having this take from this one guy, and he just says, "You just got to build long tail SEO content."
That was going to be my next question, actually.
Yeah,
I imagine for you, it's all about the search terms that people aren't, people putting big search terms into Google that aren't going direct to Rightmove, right?
Yeah. So basically, what happened was we wanted to do that, but at the time we needed to move quite quickly. So we were kind of spending money, but really wanting to do this. So we put a few things in place, and then we're like, oh, it's nothing was really kind of flowing because we weren't concentrating in one particular direction. And then COVID came along, and straight away I spoke to my partner and I was like, stop the spending. Like, let's cut the spending to like 97%. Like, by 97%. I don't want any money going out on anything. This is a waste of time. No one's going to buy a ski property. And then we said, why don't we just do all the long tail content now? Now is the time to do it because this is going to last for ages. So we did when we wrote something like 600 or 700 articles. Like, got a freelance writer and just wrote article after article after article. And there were leads coming in because there were, but no one was really buying. And then by the time we kind of came out of COVID, we just had a really good SEO presence on Google. So now we just continue with articles. We've experimented a little bit with some marketing, but quite frankly, it's just all been quite disappointing, giving money to other people to do something. And every single time we've come back and just said, let's just write more articles, just send more articles out and more content. And that's pretty much what happens, yeah.
Okay, I have a question. So one of the reasons I was interested in niche real estate marketplaces, I was actually going to write a big analysis piece about this, which I contacted you for before. One of the things that was really interesting to me was most of them don't seem to, or at least don't visibly have like big investors. They're usually these kind of scrappy little bootstrap operations that manage to carve out their niche, right? You said you did have an investor. How necessary was that at that stage for you? And do you think you could have done it without, a big chunk of cash at that point?
I think that's a really tricky one. I think when you do these things, you feel like if you listen to a lot of Simon's, Property Portal Watch with all these people, they're spending such large sums of money, and you kind of feel like, I need to spend some money. I need to just spend money, right? Just to kind of get it out there and just go, oh, now I feel like I'm doing something. But I think it was a series of circumstances with COVID as well. I don't think we needed the money. If we could have done it ourselves, it wouldn't have cost that much money. And hindsight's a wonderful thing. I think at the time, if we'd had a little bit more patience, then we wouldn't have needed the money. But the thing is, when you're launching a product like that, you don't have patience. You don't think, I'm going to launch something and then in 4 years' time, it's going to be ready. You launch something, you want it now. So the quickest way to get the now is to spend money. So it's a little bit of a, hindsight's a wonderful thing. Yes, we could have done it without money, but that wasn't my mentality at the time. That's just looking back.
Okay. And I wonder so you've obviously made a success out of this niche, out of ski properties. I imagine you've got it to a point now where it takes a lot less of your time day to day. Is there another niche that you're looking at, another idea that you're thinking, oh, okay, that's a nice little niche. We've done it before with ski properties. Maybe we'll try and do it with, I don't know, some other niche.
Yes, and I'm not telling you, but possibly. It's not that. When we launched SnowOnly, I kind of like, I've always managed people all my life, whether it's in real estate or when I initially worked in NatWest stockbrokers when I was young, and I don't enjoy it. So I feel like it wastes a lot of my time. So we kind of automated everything within our site. That was the idea. We basically come up with an idea and we say, do we need a person? Yeah, probably. Okay, how do we work this out without a person? I want to automate. I don't want people. So through our system, you can see everything kind of flowing normally. I think the only thing that we kind of really need to do is our management with the agents and some of the high-end buyers. So you could switch it into a new kind of a niche product, but I still think for the way that we did it, I think it will take quite a lot of time to do it. Like, I don't think, otherwise we then go through the same process again. I need to spend money, so on and so forth, But you can think of loads of stuff. I mean, boats are quite established. Beach, golf, yeah, whatever. Yeah, golf would be a good one because there's so many golf properties.
Yep. Now it does raise some questions, though, right? If you're in your shoes and you've done a great job at getting momentum behind the business, you've got a model where you're now participating in the transaction,
yeah,
which is great because as long as you deliver results, you'll get paid.
Yeah,
paid well. How do you think about scaling the business from 7,000 or 8,000 properties to 30,000 properties?
That I'm not too sure I want to do. That's an interesting one. So there's again lots of kind of things. I don't necessarily think that 30,000 properties would make too much of a difference to the income. The way that I look at it is finding agents and developers who are qualified to be able to deal with our leads and get more sales. So I'd say one of the challenges is it's not the niche is reasonably small. We've already got the most properties out of everybody, so that's never the problem. It's finding the people that when you send a lead of $10 million that they deal with it and they follow it through to the end. Now, me being a real estate agent, I kind of want to get involved in that and go, let me do it. But I can't because we're in 16 countries. So there's a lot of faith with the agents and developers to make sure that they're following through with that lead. And if they are, then there's plenty of leads for us to make a lot of money from. I think if you're talking about scaling in terms of getting more money as a business, then you work with, you maybe improve the commissions that we're getting. You work with developers direct as, I can't think of the company now. You work with developers direct to get agent commissions. So we just deal with them direct. That's how you would obviously make more money. But I'm not too sure that we need that amount.
Okay, what then keeps you awake at night? What are the 2 or 3 things that can, drive you in the wrong direction?
Personally, or for the website?
No, for the business.
Drive you in the. Well, I'm not too sure what you mean. Drive you in the wrong direction. I think the. If I can answer this right, please tell me if I'm going the wrong. I think the only thing is the leads are always good. I think it's the agents that they lose faith in the leads that we're producing, and then they go, "We'll just take our stuff off," and then you don't really have much. Look, all portals are need listings, don't they? So collectively, if everyone said, "Right, we're not using SnowOnly anymore," then we don't really have much of a choice. So we have to just keep on producing quality leads that people feel like it's worthy to be on our website and pay our commission. There was a podcast I listened to the other day, and it was just a really quick thing. It said, "What value do you bring to the market?" That is the important thing, isn't it? Like, what value are we bringing to the agents? And the value that we bring is that we have, on average, 85% of our leads are unique, so the agent doesn't have them. So they are new leads, and these people are buying. So do we bring value? Absolutely. So would they get rid of us, considering they pay $0 for us? I doubt it.
Okay. Now, where are you at the moment?
Now,
physically.
Montenegro. Yeah.
And you were talking just before we came on air about you're working with a developer and you're looking out the window and it's a barren mountain, not an ounce of snow.
Yeah.
That's got to be more and more frequently occurring around the planet.
How
do you think about climate change?
I think there's been, I understand where you're coming from. I think there's been a bit of a PR push, maybe the last 5 or 10 years, that they used to be ski properties and now they're mountain properties. I think that if you consider the entire world, whether it's snowing or not, the desire to go to the mountains is still very strong. It's fresh air. It's exercise, is time with the family. All those kind of fundamentals that we write articles about all the time are still there, whether it's skiing or not. And bear in mind that a lot of people that go skiing now don't ski every day. They're in the onsens, they're on the ice rink, they're just doing different things. They're in the restaurants, they're watching their kids ski. Like, it's not always about skiing now. And look at Chamonix. Chamonix, for example, has so many more people in the summer than it does in the winter.
Yeah.
So have you thought about, just a passing thought, is if you own SnowOnly, which clearly has just by name has a certain flavour.
Yeah, I was pleased with that one. Yeah.
Okay, but you could have Mountain Only as well. You literally take the same properties, run them through an AI tool, takes away all the snow, makes it all green.
Yeah,
and you literally are selling the same properties, but for
you might have just come across the idea he didn't want to tell us 5 minutes ago.
Yeah. No. Look, I think that we all have weird and wonderful ideas for everything. I think that the ski industry, I think inevitably. Look, I've always said since I first went skiing ever, the best salesperson is the weather. That's it. There's a few examples recently where we've had some very, very high-end buyers. I'm talking some serious money that have gone to resorts and it's been raining. And within a day, they're gone. No interest. So regardless whether they've had 10 years of amazing snow in the resort, for that one day, it rained and it finished. They're like, we're gone. So it is, I think people just kind of need to remember the dream of why they were actually buying it in the first place, rather than the small bits along the road, the bumps in the way that kind of put them off sometimes.
So we're wrapping up soon, Ed, but I've got a question for you. How do you think about exit from the business? Because a lot of people sort of start these businesses, think, I'm going to list the company, I'm going to do X, Y, or Z, right? And then 3 years down the track, 4 years down the track, and a bit of, it's been a lot of hard work and a little bit of reality steps in. How do you think about exit?
Well, I think that there was, this happened in Phuket when I was working quite a lot, actually. And first of all, you want to find someone that has enough money to think that they can do it better than you can. That's the first thing. And two, our business can grow, and it can for all the leads that we generate, for all the agents, for all the relationships and all that stuff, it can grow exponentially because it's a small team that we have. So in terms of getting in more money, getting in more revenue, getting in more commissions, it's there for someone to take on. And we know that to a certain extent, unless we expand internally, we're limited to only what we can do, right? That's the thing with the small team. So in terms of the exit, I think that there would be someone that has that fundamental in place, a sales team, whatever it was, all the verticals that could be used, because there's super high-end clients. We've got billions of dollars of kind of inquiries coming in. So someone that can take that and either have me working for them for a bit to kind of hand it over, but that would be the exit for us, that someone kind of takes it on as a company. Yeah.
All right, Mark, to wrap up, we wanted to try a bit of a feature. So Simon, I'm sure you over the years have had this countless times. I've had it a lot at Property Portal Watch. After people have had 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 beers, they come up to us and they give us their hot takes or their fun anecdotes or their controversy, completely unsolicited, but we want to actually get it from people and put it online. Is there a hot take, a fun anecdote, some controversy that you would be telling us after 5 beers at Property Portal Watch Bangkok that you want to share with the audience now?
No, I think from our point of view, actually, there's 2. I'll give you a kind of from slightly different sides. There's a negative one of the fact that we've all been talking about. I know you mentioned yesterday the Rightmove. The UK agents only get 1% of commission, which is relatively small, and I think that for beach properties, ski properties, the commissions are super high. I mean, look at Fazwaz. Like, some of the commissions they're dealing with is off the charts, right? So I think from that point of view, although we get high commissions, the agents are only motivated. Sometimes some agents are only motivated to sell one property a year. That is it. So I think obviously finding those, when you're doing something that REA does as a niche, you need to find someone that has that motivation to keep on selling properties. Otherwise, you're putting so much reliance on that one person that just goes, where are you? Oh, I'm in the Caribbean. I sold a property. I got 250 grand commission. See you later. And that's kind of your business model. So that's a little bit hard. So I think finding really driven agents as a portal in the transaction business is, we just need to find agents that are super, super motivated. Yeah, I think that's like the main thing. So if your business is based on that, you need to find good people that will propel your business. Your business is only as good as the agents that you're working with. That's it. Especially if you're in this model. That's what I would say.
Fair enough. Or you need to get into agency yourself. I don't know.
Yeah, look, I think I'm sure Simon has some experience of this kind of thing. But if we did that, that's like really sticking into that grey area, isn't it? Of like everyone lists on your site and then you become their competitor with all their listings. That's a tricky one to do. And the other thing, as I said, maybe from a more positive side, is this is a real estate thing in general, and it's from the buyer's side. I wish the buyers would always remember why they were buying the property and getting knocked by all the bumps along the way, because the property's not going to change at the end of the day. Once you're in there having a beer or whatever it is and you've got that dream, it doesn't matter what the solicitor said. It doesn't matter if the developer annoyed you. It doesn't matter. Stick to what your dream was and get along the way. But so many deals fall through on the basis of, I don't like the lawyer. What difference does that make? That's my bugbear. And yeah.
Fair enough. Better out than in these things.
Yeah, like at the end of the day, once you've gone through the process and you're sitting there in your hot tub looking at the mountains you don't think about all the stuff that happened. That was why you bought it in the first place. Just remember that. That's
a lovely vision to end on, for sure. Yeah. All right, Mark, thanks so much for talking to us.
No worries, pleasure.
Yeah. And best of luck with SnowOnly. And if you do move on into that other niche, you'll be sure to let us know, right?
I'm sure we will, yeah, for sure.
Great, Mark. Thank you very much. Mark. And we look forward to seeing you in Bangkok.
Yeah, perfect.